So welcome to Blue Steel Talks. I'm Dave Ross. I'm here with Anthony Israel. The question today is hiring people, and this is the only video you will ever need to hire people. It's taking 40 years of my experience and distilling it down into 20 minutes about what it is, what you're looking for, what you're going to find, and how you get them.
So why should people hire people? Like, what's the big purpose of it?
Entrepreneurs suffer from many flaws. One of the major flaws they suffer from is thinking they can do everything. And they may be the best at everything in their company, but they can't do everything in their company. So they need people to carry out various tasks. There are a lot of people who are not going to become entrepreneurs themselves, but that are extremely gifted as employees, and you want them on your team. You would prefer to be their leader, not their manager, which means you want people that are going to be self-motivated, that are going to push towards success on their own, following your inspiration and following your direction.
Yeah.
So that you hire because you can't do all jobs and because you have to leverage your work with people who are perhaps better, but if not, more specialized in particular tasks.
Because those people can do the work better and more efficiently than you.
Yeah. And quite often, in my case, I have hired people that had specific technical knowledge that I did not possess. You can't know everything in technology fields. And so I would hire people, if we were doing things with a particular kind of AI, I'd hire people with AI. For a particular kind of neural nets, I'd hire somebody with neural nets. Particular mathematics, I'd hire a mathematician. And I've done all those things. And you're hiring for a known gap in your team, most of the time. Sometimes you're hiring just because you want to expand the team and you need somebody good that can be a generalist. But most of the time, there's a specific task you're aiming at.
Yeah. Now that we've outlined hey, I need someone for my business, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not able to do all the phone calls, or I'm not able to do all the programming for my new software, or I'm not able to run my coffee shop by myself. Mm-hmm. Right? Where do I find people? I mean, do I just go on the street and start talking to everyone, or what do I do?
You have to be creative, and I found people in some very odd positions. I once sent my niece, who was working for me, over to the University of Washington, to ask a mathematics question. This was in the days before the internet. To ask a mathematics question, and the mathematician, graduate student that she found and talked to, after he answered the question, asked, "Oh, are you hiring?" And we hired him, and then he went around giving out information on the company to people in his department. So we hired like 4 people out of their PhD programs at the U. So that's being creative. Yeah. She saw that he was a good person. I mean, that's how she found him to answer the math question, and we hired him, and he was a very successful employee for years.
So what do you look for? So when you're looking for these people, what do you look for?
Well, but just a second, I'm going to finish with where you find them. But that's an unusual approach. The place that I have found most of the employees that I have hired has been with recruiting firms. And there are a lot of lousy and a few good recruiting firms out there for the high-tech industry. High-tech is better off than most places. So I have found 2 or 3 recruiters that I have used over the years that have hired the vast majority of the people that I have hired, because they know where they're working, they know they've been in contact with them, know they're unhappy there, they're looking for another job or whatever. So they are very good at that. And the third place is people you know, or the people that you know. Okay. And all of those are very good ways of finding people. I'll add another category with an asterisk next to it, and that's friends. Yeah. Why wouldn't you hire your friends if you would have hired them anyway? In other words, don't hire a friend because they're a friend. Hire a friend because they're qualified for the job. But quite often, if you've been working in a high-tech field, you have friends that are also in the high-tech field, and maybe they want to come join you in the work. I've done that a lot too. So there's many sources. Keep your eyes open and look for the best possible people. How you screen, we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah. So what are you looking for specifically? Does a person have to dress a certain way? Does the person have to act a certain way, have certain friends? Or if you're walking down, what do you see in a person?
I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt, so I don't really care what they look like, what they dress. I'm not a lawyer. But I want people, my employees have to have what I call the spark. That is, they are proactive, they want to change the world, they don't react to things that happen to them, they react to the world around them by being proactive and seizing the opportunities. I'm looking for that more than I'm looking for any specific knowledge. A person who has that and is intelligent can handle any job. I had a real good friend that I've been business partners with several times that he was an aerospace engineer and he ran finance for us because we needed somebody to do the job. He was great for it, wanted to do it, and was a tremendous success.
Yeah. So what's the screening process look like? So now that you've like found the person, you think that they would be a good fit, how do you screen them to make sure that your instincts were right?
The first thing you do, of course, is you ask for a resume. It always goes with a resume. You read through the resume, see where they've been. I don't pay much attention to. I do not pay much attention to their grades. In fact, I usually ignore their grades. I look at what courses they took. If they were hard, then their grades are probably going to be poor in those courses. I want people who've worked outside their comfort zone. So that's one. The screening is the resume is to start with.
So you look for people who stepped out of their comfort zone, took hard courses, and they don't need to be a perfect 4.0.
No.
GPA.
In fact, I almost never look at their grade points at all.
Yeah.
Now that's, of course, obviously for an entry-level employee.
Yes.
For a person that has been that has been in the industry for a while, I'm looking for people who got good references. In other words, who've done the sort of thing I need somebody for, and can provide me with references to show that they've done that.
How do you check people's references? Because I've had people lie. I mean, how do you know that it's not just a friend of a friend saying, "Hey, call this number," or things like that?
High tech has some of that problem. Sales has that problem in spades.
Yeah.
And not that they're more dishonest, but that they're cleverer.
Yeah.
in terms of doing that. You don't want. You have to break through the veil. People will set up a wall of people to interview, and if you ask them who else can I go with, they will always point to somebody else in that group. As I said, the salespeople are best at that, so you can't get out of the group. The first time you run into that, you'll be perplexed as to why you seem to be going in circles in terms of finding people. Once you've done it once, you realize what's going on. The way around that is really straightforward. You say, fine, now I need somebody from a previous company. Because usually they won't be from a previous company, and somebody that's not on the list you've given me. Now they have a problem.
Yeah.
Because now I've broken the veil, and I use that technique a lot to make sure that I'm getting the truth about them. In the final analysis, you have to judge them for yourself, and that's the next stage of the process. And you bring them in and interview them, and you have as many people look at them as you can afford the time. So I would have a high-tech person come in, and I'd have the secretary interview them, as well as me and anybody in the tech field. Why? Because I want a judgment of the character as well as the capabilities of that person.
Yeah. So you would have, if someone comes in, you would have them first go through your secretary, then go to someone else, then go to you, so that you get multiple people's opinions on what they think.
It is usually a 2-day interviewing process for an important person in high tech. For me, and I've been very successful at it. I have not had to fire very many people that I hire that way because we get a good view for them. Now, how do you tell that they're capable? You figured that you like them. You figured that they are honest. How do you know that they're capable? This is a place where the high tech has an advantage over most fields. We have people come in and do presentations on their areas of expertise. You have, if a person is a mathematician, you have them show some proofs you did. If they have a PhD, give them a talk on your PhD. You get to see a person enthusiastic about something because it's their work.
Yeah.
And I found that to be the best way of all, because we've got people that can ask questions that are intelligent. They may not understand a topic as well as the interviewee, but they understand it, and they can ask questions, and they can get to the bottom of whether they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah. So now that I've found a person that I know is perfect for my job, they passed all the criteria you've mentioned and more, and now they're like, well, I want $1 million a year. How do I start negotiating with them to make sure that they get the work that I need done, and to make sure that it's affordable and within my company's means?
There are studies that are put out in every field as to what the range of salaries are that are typical for a person with a certain amount of experience. We use those all the time. We don't necessarily use them as slave labor. You know, we're not slaves to them, but we use that quite often, and that really helps as a starting point. What are you making now is an honest question, because you get to ask that of the finance person in their old company later, you know, after they've announced they're leaving.
Yeah.
All of those things help you set an amount. But finally, I've had to pay people. Well, there's an engineer in my most recent company that is paid more than the CEO, and is worth every penny of it.
Yeah.
And has proven he's worth every penny of it. So you pay what you have to get the person you want, but it is far more important that you get high quality people than that you pay them little.
Yeah. So you would prefer to overpay someone a little bit more than what the industry's cost is, because they will do the work better. So instead of hiring 2 people to do the same job, you can hire 1 person to do the job.
Or 10 people. Right. Yeah. That's one part. That's one point. I mean, a really good employee may be worth 10, not 2.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Second of all, if they're overpaid a little bit, they're less likely to be hired away by somebody trying to recruit them out.
Yeah.
So that's another way.
Okay. Well, so for the next 2 videos, I would like to talk about people we contract. Mm-hmm. So the difference between hiring someone who is an actual employee for a long time versus hiring someone who's just contracted for a certain job. And then also how to fire people, because it's a lot harder to fire someone than it is to hire someone.
And a lot less fun.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And
so tune in for that video.
Yeah. And in the next 2 videos will be how to fire people and how to hire a contractor to do a certain job for you.
Right.
Perfect.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.